Thanks for joining me on the Listen Up Girl podcast. This is your daily LGBTQ plus news podcast, keeping you informed, fired up, and fabulous. I'm your host, Zach Randall-Friedman. Today is Sunday, July the 12th, 2026. We have 6 stories today, all new, all things you need to know, so let's get right into it. Someone called CPS on Pete Buttigieg, and it was a lie. So we're starting with a story that should make every single queer person's parents' blood boil. Pete Buttigieg, former Secretary of Transportation, out gay man, and the father of 4-year-old twins, revealed publicly that an anonymous caller filed a false report with Michigan Child Protective Services claiming he had convicted violent crimes against his own children. A CPS worker and Michigan State police officer showed up at his door in Traverse City, Michigan, and for the first 24 hours, Pete was kept away from his kids while they were interviewed separately for nearly an hour each by strangers in a place they had never been, answering questions their parents weren't allowed to know about. The allegations were quickly determined to be completely false, but the damage was done. Buttigieg called it the darkest hour of his life, worse than death threats, political attacks, and time in a war zone. He called it what it is, a form of swatting, where instead of sending armed police, someone weaponized the child welfare system to terrorize a gay family. He noted it happened shortly after he and his husband Chastain posted on Father's Day pictures on social media. During Pride Month, Pete said making a false report is a crime and that he intends to pursue every available legal option. This is not an isolated incident. Baseless accusation of child abuse against LGBTQ parents are rising across this country. The false stereotype that queer people are dangerous to children has a long, ugly, and thoroughly debunked history. And right now, people with power and platforms are using it as a weapon. We will not let that go unchallenged. People are fucking sick. Why would you do that? Why would people call and say that Pete Buttigieg was doing that? You're putting these 4-year-old twins in a horrible situation. Like, they don't know these people. They're scared. You're doing worse. These people are horrible. Sorry, Pete. We're with you. Next, GLAAD report, Hollywood erased trans people from films. So next up, a report that just dropped this week that is honestly stunning. GLAAD has released its annual Where We Are in Film study, examining every film released in 2025 by the 10 largest studio distributors, including Disney, Netflix, Warner Brothers, and A24, and the results are damning. Of the 225 films reviewed, only 46 included any LGBTQ plus characters at all, and that's just over 20%. It's the third consecutive year of decline, down from nearly 24% in 2024 and a record high of 28.5% in 2023. But here's the number that stopped me cold. Zero transgender characters in any of the 225 films. Not one, and 0 LGBTQ characters in any one of the 19 animated or family films. None, not a single one. GLAAD CEO Sarah Kate Ellis said that the disconnect is both culturally harmful and a missed business opportunity because Gen Z, which makes it the largest share of moviegoers in North America, also has the highest percentage of LGBTQ plus people of any generation. 1 in 5 Americans under 30 identifies as part of our community. Studios are literally alienating their core audience to appease a very loud and very mouthy, wrong minority. The one bright spot, horror. Apparently, queer horror is thriving with films, which I know what I did last summer, and Weapons are both featuring inclusive characters and making money doing it. Because even in the darkest timeline, horror always has our back. Now we go to Idaho, where it bans trans people from bathrooms. The community is fighting back. Idaho's new transgender bathroom ban went into effect on July 1st, and it's extreme as advertised. The law makes it a crime for a trans person to use facilities that align with their gender identity in the government buildings and places of public accommodation. A first offense can mean up to a year in jail. A second offense in 5 years can be charged as a felony for using a bathroom. But the community is not sitting still. The Idaho-based nonprofit Trans Affirm has launched a crowdsourced inclusive bathroom map built from hundreds of community-submitted ideas, highlighting businesses and spaces across the state where trans people can safely use facilities that align with who they are. Most of the locations are single-stall, gender-neutral bathrooms, and the map will keep being updated as things change. Trans Affirm put it simply. The list was created because communities need practical tools, not just conversations. A federal judge has partially blocked enforcement of the law while legal challenges from the ACLU move through the courts. But in the meantime, the community is showing up for each other in the most practical, loving way possible. When the law fails you, you make your own map. Queer resilience is in action once again. I love it. I hate it that trans people are going through that, but I love it that we're all coming together to help. Our next story is Colorado GOP nominates an anti-gay conversion therapy supporter for governor. So let's talk about Colorado, where the Republican Party just nominated Victor Marx, a ministry leader who has promoted conversion therapy and claimed he should be attracted to men, but he was restored by God as their candidate for governor. I can't even believe I'm reading this. Marx won the June 30th GOP primary and has actively opposed a Colorado law that allows people who underwent conversion therapy to sue their mental health providers for damages, arguing that prohibits on practice are unconstitutional. Colorado has elected a Republican governor since 2002. It has robust LGBTQ plus legal protections, and the GOP just nominated a conversion therapy promoter to lead it. This tells you everything you need to know about where we are in the Republican bases right now. They are nominating people who cannot win general elections because the loudest voices in their party are willing so far to the right that the electability is no longer the point. The point is the message is we want to change you. The people of Colorado get to respond to that message in November, and I think we all know how that's going to go. Our next story is Cheryl Reeve is the winningest coach in WNBA history, and she's gay. Let's pivot to some genuinely good news because we need it. On July 8th, Minnesota Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeve became the winningest coach in WNBA history, earning her 380th regular season victory with 86-80 win over Connecticut Sun. She surpassed longtime Connecticut Sun coach Mike Talbot, who had held the record since 2022. Cheryl Reeve is openly gay. She has been with the Lynx since 2010, won 4 WNBA championships in 2011, 2013, and 2015, and 2017, and has been named WNBA Coach of the Year 4 times. She was just inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame in June, and now she's an all-time wins leader in her league. When asked if reaching the Hall of Fame and this record has been the dreams of hers, Reeve said, and I love this, never the hope and the dream. I don't think like that. That's the mark of a champion. You don't chase the records, you chase the next possession, the next game, the next win, and then the records follow. Cheryl Reeve is one of the greatest coaches in professional basketball history. Period, full stop, no qualifier needed. Representation matters, and today we are celebrating her. And next, Madonna hits number 10 on the Billboard 200. And we are closing with the highest possible note because the Queen of Pop has reclaimed her throne. Madonna's new album, Confessions 2, the long-awaited follow-up to 2005's Confessions on a Dance Floor, has debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200, making it her 10th number 1 album in the United States. 10 number 1 albums spanning across 4 decades. Let that sink in. The lead single, Bring Your Love, featuring Sabrina Carpenter, hit number 74 in the Billboard Hot 100 and has also reached number 1 on the Dance Digital Song Sales Chart because, of course, it did. Madonna in the dance chart number 1 is practically a law of nature at this point. Confessions 2 is the first studio album since Madame X in 2019, and critics have received it with genuine enthusiasm. She has earned this one the right way: new music, fearless creativity, and a community that's never stopped showing up for her. The orange convicted felon and every politician trying to erase us would love nothing more than for queer culture to go quiet, and Madonna just went number 1, and we're not quiet, and we're not going anywhere. Love you, Madonna, and I am so proud of you, and I knew you could do it. I have a feeling you have many more number 1s coming up in the future. And that's your Listen Up Girl podcast for Sunday, July 12th, 2026. So let's recap really quick.
Pete Buttigieg and his family were targeted with a false CPS report in what was called the darkest hours of his life. GLAAD's new film study found 0 trans characters across 225 major studio films, a 3-year low. Idaho's trans bathroom ban is now law, but the community has already built its own safety map. Colorado Republicans nominated a conversion therapy promoter for governor. Cheryl Reeve became the winningest coach in WNBA history, and she's gay and she's incredible. And Madonna debuted at number 1 in the Billboard 200 with Confessions 2, her 10th number 1 album. That's 6 stories today. If this show is part of your week, please make sure it's part of more people's weeks and share this episode. Hit subscribe and leave us a rating or review wherever you're listening. Every single one helps us find more people, and right now we need more people paying attention. Follow me on Instagram and YouTube at TheRealZachRE, and visit Listen Up Girl for more. Stay fierce, stay informed, stay proud. I'll see you tomorrow with more news. Thanks for listening.